All right, chat. I think I'm live. What's going on? I'm in such a fucking shitty mood right now, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm in a fucking shitty mood right now. I just started day one of my fast. It's gonna be a 7-day fast, and I'm trying to get this weight off me, man. As I mentioned in my first video back, like I'm trying to do everything I can right now to get this weight off me, man. You know what I'm saying? At this point, like I gotta stop eating meat. So I think I'm done with meat, man. I'm done with meat. I tried this diet where like all you eat is red meat, and then I went too hard with it. Like I was eating way too much red meat, and I'm not losing any weight. I'm just going backwards. I'm actually like gaining weight. You know what I'm saying? Shit is depressing as fuck, man. You know, I need help. Like, and I'm trying to do everything possible not to go on fucking Ozempic and shit like that. But man, I need help, man. You know, and I get it. I gotta get my steps up. You know, today I did 4,156 steps, but I know I gotta go harder than that. You know, I gotta go get like 12,000 steps, right? Somebody said I gotta do like 12,000 steps, 15,000 steps if I really want to like, get up there. You know, it fucking sucks, man. It really fucking sucks to go on the scale and just like watch the scale fucking go higher and higher and higher, man. It's depressing as fuck, you know? And I want to go down. I want to get back to like my high school weight. Okay, maybe not my high school weight, but I want to at least get down to like 185, 175. You know what I'm saying? That would be really cool, like to get down to 175, 165. You know? It's fucking pissing me off. So I'm a little depressed today, chat. Shout out to everybody watching in the building right now. I'm a little, I don't even like to use that word depressed because that's for people who don't move. I don't want to say depressed. I'm a little down. I'm a little down.
Oh my God!
I'm definitely a little down today. But what's not down is the stock market. Okay? We got the bounce we were looking for. We talked about it last night about that bounce. We got the bounce we were looking for. He came on the stage today at around, what was that, like 12, 11:30. He came on the stage. He says, I'm not using force to get Greenland. Then later on, down about 3 o'clock or so, he came back on and he said, hey, we got a deal. All right? We got a deal. And then the markets rallied. If you remember, the markets, let's see, yeah, here's the trade. We rallied in the morning because that was the expected move, and then we sold off as we went into the meeting. Okay? And then there were conflicting information about where Trump's head was at in regards to using force. Then he said clearly, I'm not using force, and then we got that big afternoon punch, right? Back higher. If you used my downside strategy, you made money. If you used my downside strategy, you made money, right? On the Qs or on NDX, which is what I like to use. Okay? We made money. And a matter of fact, I think, again, I'm going to be watching tomorrow's trade very carefully, but I'm ready to start selling some of these puts at 672, 670, 665s because I really think we go higher here, man. I really think we start to get that new high. It's built in. Okay, it's built in. There's nowhere else to go. All right, it's built in. I'm not hearing nothing from the Bears. I don't want to hear anything the Bears have to say, to be honest with you, because there's nowhere else to say. Gold is telling you there's nowhere else to go. All right, so clap for all of us who were going long and plan on going long. I'll look back here on the indices here in just a second. Let me go look at one more thing, which was QQQ. We talked about QQQ yesterday as well. This is exactly what we were looking for. Get back above the trend. Okay. Now, what I'm looking for tomorrow is just continuation. I'm looking for continuation. Okay. I'm looking for continuation. That's why I made that video talking about, you know, QQQ is going to explode higher. I really believe that. I really, really believe that this time next week, we're going to be right back above 620 plus. I think we could probably hit that, as soon as Friday, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? JT Finesse, yeah, what's up, bro? It's not over yet. It's not over yet at all. It's not over yet at all. It's still early, man. It's still early. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you being here. We're still early in it. There's still a lot of money to be made in this. Okay. Now, I've always preached, particularly once I got into options and understood options trading, using spreads, right? Using spreads, deep in the money spreads to make money. Yes, you will have to put up more than what you earn, but at the end of the day, it's a high probability level of success, and you want to just continue to follow these trends in the direction in which they're going. And QQQ is clearly, again, if we get that continuation tomorrow, right, which I would love to see, us get back, above that lower high, or that higher low, excuse me, showing that we're back above, riding that trend up higher. I would love to see that, man. I would really, really love to see that. Okay. Another stock we talked about yesterday, which was Meta. Okay. Understand on Meta, the 575 puts on this were like, at the low today, they were like $23. It was something insane like that. I think they're down now to around, no, I think they were like $27. There was something crazy high. And, again, these have not changed from yesterday, from what I showed yesterday on Meta. And sure enough, this is a very, very important level. If we can get back above 614 here, then I think 641 is definitely in target for earnings next week. Okay. Meta has earnings next week. I don't doubt that they're going to blow earnings out the water. And this is going to be a stock that many of you are going to wish you went long here. I can see Meta blowing their earnings out the water next week. Okay. I can see Meta doing that. Let me see here. One disappointing stock. I started the show off with Microsoft. Man, I don't know what's going on with Microsoft right now, man. You want to talk about disappointing. Sold off again today. Sold off again today. Microsoft did. So we got some interesting levels it's approaching here. I think we're looking possibly for the gap fill. All right. And once the gap fill happens, whether we go fully back below 396, when it gets back above 400, I think you got to go for that ride, man. I think you got to go for that ride. Okay. I think you got to go for that ride. All right. So we've already covered 4 or 5 stocks. I'm not going to make this show very long. Okay. But I wanted to cover some really interesting stocks that I've been following along with you guys here in the chat room. RTX pulled back, but I think we continue to go higher on RTX. In fact, let me take a look at RTX. All right, so building some levels here, in RTX, but these are some areas that I would really pay attention to in RTX. But I think again, you got a new high being created there as well. It's not over to the fat lady sings on all these tickers. Not over to the fat lady sings. GLD. We saw gold with the pullback today on gold. Nearly, it's selling off a little bit now, and I'm happy to see this because that it was getting a little bit crazy on gold. Admittedly, can we all admit that it was getting a little crazy on gold? Where we had hit, what was the high? I think the high was like 48.90 or 4900. 48.90. Yep, 48.90. Okay. So now we're at least back on some reasonable levels again. Okay, we're back at some reasonable levels in gold. And here are some areas that I think 47.41 is where they're talking about being support, at least using my super trend indicator. 47.40 needs to hold. And so far, I mean, obviously it's done that. But, you know, we're way up there, man. We are really, really way up there. So I could see that low breaking. I could see us breaking beneath that 4,700 level. But again, as soon as we get back up to that, get back above that, I'm going for the ride. I'm going for the ride. That will be my first. That will be my first futures trade. All right. Once we find this bottom in gold, I'll definitely try to go back and jump on the ride higher once we find buyers again. Okay. Once we find some buyers again. Absolutely, folks. Again, give me some tickers in the chat. Give me some tickers in the chat. BlackRock. There's another one. BlackRock, again, not cheap. All right. Not cheap. Let me get rid of my indicator here for a little bit. BlackRock is another stock that, like, man, this one's all over the place. But boy, did it bounce off some recent really, really good numbers. I didn't realize that BlackRock made that much money, but god damn, that company makes a lot of money, man. That company makes a lot of money, man. And you said you find individual equities to be too risky. I prefer index and ETFs. Absolutely. I mean, hey, different strokes for different folks. Okay, different strokes for different folks. I do not trade futures, but I want to start because I do appreciate the leverage. Okay, and that's why I really want to get into gold in particular because gold is an easy 5,000 trade. I mean, I can see gold at 7,000. Be honest. Okay, it's too much debt in the world. Way too much debt in the world. The world is literally crushing under the weight of fiat. Okay, it's crushing itself under the weight of fiat. Everybody is struggling. You know, even people who are millionaires, they're frustrated by the fact that they cannot hold cash. Nobody can hold cash. You know, nobody can hold cash right now. You got to be in some kind of asset right now in order to hedge your government's money printing. The federal government of the United States of America right now is working against the interests of its own people. That's just a fact. Every dollar going out of the federal government right now is money that's being borrowed. Every single dollar, man. Every single dollar. We're seeing all the fraud going on with the Somalis. I think the next thing to break is going to be these VA benefits, bro. I think these VA benefits may go away here soon, or there are going to be some significant cuts to VA benefits in terms of this money that some people get for just saying, "Hey, I was hurt" and all that stuff. I mean, granted, there are some veterans out there that truly deserve care, right, and to be made whole. But man, if you didn't do 25, if you didn't actually serve in a war zone, right? Not 25, 20. If you didn't do 20, if you didn't actually serve in a war zone, you didn't, come home paralyzed from some training accident or some shit like that, why are you getting a check? Why are you getting a check? And you got women now in the military who are like, hey, I got touched by so and so while I was in the service. They don't even have to prove it, and they can get a check, 100% disabled. This is really happening out here right now. This is really happening out here right now. And if you're a woman, you have a better chance at getting a 100% VA disability than if you're a man. Because you can go in as a woman and say you got essayed while you were in the service. You don't have to say who did it, why, and what happened. Uh, but if you can prove the mental damage took place, yeah, you're 100% VA disabled. That's real shit. You know. Let's keep it going. CRWV, Core Weave. All right. Core Weave, all right. I mean, it got to some lows today, but like many stocks today did bounce. Okay. Of course, didn't close at the high, didn't close at the low. So, you know, you like this trade. Let's see what happens. You like this trade. Let's see what happens. But I do love a stock that's making that round. Making the rounds, looking and trying to build some higher lows in there, and it is doing its part. Mr. Cool, you said you'd like to start to trade some futures here soon. Okay.
Bruh.
Shout out to you, man. Futures is not easy. It's very much like Forex. It's not easy. But futures is very lucrative for the guys who get it right. But man, the way some of these trades can go against you when you don't do it right in futures, the pain accumulates significantly when those trades don't go right. When those trades don't go right, those losses, boy, really, really add up. Dave, are you putting the CDNS? Yeah, zero DTE is my strategy now. For the most part, it's a significant part of my strategy. I'm building an indicator. I'm building a software right now that will give you zero DTE trades, not iron condors. I don't do iron condors. Okay, I don't do iron condors. No zero DT iron condors. Okay, I do not do iron condors intraday. All right. I know there are people who do make money doing zero DT iron condors because we've taken a look at it, some of those people's strategies, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. There are plenty of trades that you can do zero DTE where you don't have to do iron condors and give you the same high probability strategies. All right. Make sure you still get natural salt and electrolytes during fast. Carnival has saved my life. Just take your time adjusting. Thank you, Sarah Cooper. I appreciate you. Yeah, man, I'm tired of being like chubby, bro. And my thing is like I'm not fat. I'm a solid, I'm a black man, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty solid dude, but I would like to get back to my high school size. I'd like to get back, I'd like to be slim, you know what I mean? Not necessarily be kind of chunky and almost feel like I got some breasts developing a little bit. They're not breasts, but I'm feeling a little chubby. And a sedentary lifestyle hasn't been very helpful either. You know what I'm saying? It hasn't been very helpful. you know. But I'm trying to get my weight down, man. It's been a very frustrating journey, and I've been cheating too. You know, I've been cheating too. I ain't gonna lie, but I stopped. I made a conscious decision 2 days ago that I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to take candy. I'm not going to do the fruit juices and stuff. I'm going to do my fast because I'm going to start off with the fast in order just to shock just to kind of shock my body, for example. You know what I mean? Just to get into a real calorie deficit and then go into the lifestyle change. But I really wanted to go 7 days without food just to give my body that kind of like jolt that I haven't given it in years. No, I'm looking for that sound effect, bro. I'm looking for that sound effect. If anybody can give me where to get that fuck sound effect. Hold on. Is it on YouTube? Is it? Okay, no, I know that one's got the. See, everybody's got. I can't stand why they. Why do they have the reverb on it? I can't stand that shit. See, why does everybody have? I don't want the reverb on the shit. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that to you guys 5, 6, and 7 times. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look for it. I'm gonna look for it, but I don't want it to have that. You know, I forgot what it's called. It's actually that people are putting at the end of it. It's really irritating. Or does it naturally have that? Does it naturally have that? You know, everybody really wants my. This
Get
is
out of here, you damn nigger!
that's what everybody really would. I got to give that to one of the big streamers, so I can get credit for that. I got to give that one to one of the big streamers. I've had that for years, and people have asked me, "Yeah, I want it, I want it, I want it." CRWV. Yeah, make sure you get natural salt. Yeah, I'm sorry. But back to what Sarah Cooper was saying, the natural salt. Yeah, I'm gonna get to natural salt. I'm gonna eat in butter. You know what I'm saying? Cooking with butter again. But I'm probably done with meat for at least the next 60 days for sure. I will not be eating any meat for the next 60 days. I'm done with meat because meat is how I got here. You know what I'm saying? Meat is how I got here, and I gotta stop eating it. CDNS, Cadence Design Systems, technology play. Uh, Boy, the monthly chart looks better. The daily and the weekly are all over the place, but the monthly chart definitely looks a lot healthier. Okay, definitely looks a lot healthier. I like that doji candlestick is showing on the monthly. Hopefully, you found a low here, and if I'm you, I'm already probably starting to sell those 300 puts just to take the risk. Just sell those 300 puts. I can picture any kid in my school saying, "Fuck yeah, absolutely." No, I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna use that in my next show. I'm gonna find a good version of that that's HD and use that. Okay. Uh, what was another? Okay, this is a stock I wanted to show you guys. That's breaking out of multi-year lows. Here's Boeing. Boeing, man, look, Boeing coming out of this low from 2020. This could get really exciting. I already saw somebody in the chat said they don't like, you know, single stock risk, which is understandable, but BA is definitely a big part of a lot of ETFs out there, particularly transportation and defense related ETFs. So you got to be excited about watching BA break out of this 261, you know, high going back to 2020. because this will be a very exciting run if it does this. I mean, I think you're going to get a lot of retail as well as institutional love if you break out of a multi-year resistance level. Okay, so BA could be very, very exciting here. All right. Earnings comes in 6 days for Boeing. So earnings could be the catalyst for BA to cross that. And if that's the case, I'm definitely a seller of those 250s, those 235s, those 240s. I mean, you can go out a month out. Let me see, let me log into my Thinkorswim. And again, I don't use Thinkorswim. I just love the fact that they provide all of this free information. 6, 2, 7, 6. I just curious as to what, if you go out a month or even 2 months out, again, trying to make the big money, where those, let me see here, brief second. So we go to BA, Boeing, option chain. Let's go out 45 days, closest available is 37. Say you wanted to sell. Okay, then wow. All right, so not a lot of implied volatility here, even though we're getting close to earnings. They're below $10 at $10 on the put side. 245 has got, they're asking 735 for those. Wow, I thought they'd have more money on those, but not so much. The 255s for 37 days is going for 1290. All right, so not so much, not so much. All right. Which is nice if you're a new trader and you don't have a lot of money. All right. If you don't have a lot of money, stocks that have very low implied volatility, they actually work in your favor because they don't cost so much for you to have a shot to play. You know. Yeah, we looked at SPY, man. SPY's going really good. This is kind of what we wanted to see. We wanted to see, these levels hold, and we got the move today we were looking for yesterday. This was exactly what we were looking for to happen, and it happened. Right? We know we're dealing with a guy who knows how to manipulate the markets, and I'm sure he's got a friend or two that made a whole lot of money today. Because he knew what he was going to say yesterday. He knew what he was going to go out into Europe and say, that he wasn't going to drop bombs and he wasn't going to kill Europeans. That was the big deal. Remember, they had sent soldiers to Greenland, right? And they wanted to hear that he wasn't going to use force to take it. Supposedly, they got a nice deal out of it, and we should see the markets respond accordingly tomorrow. Let's go. Higher prices. We up. We up, man. This is not a time to be scared or not a time to be, be fearful. Because where else are you going to go?
Supreme victory.
Where else are you going to go? You going to hang out in cash? Where else are you going to go? You don't got nowhere else to go, man. Nice pullback on JNUG today. All of the leveraged ETFs, for the most part, pulled back. I don't think is it AGQ? Yeah, AGQ. Yep. All of them, for the most part, pulled back. Yeah. Just set up my Roth IRA investments for the year. Okay. What's going on, Woody Wright? Big Onk, what's going on? Shout out to all of you guys in the chat. Okay. Shout out to y'all in the chat. What happened to that one bit me in the ass. I forgot that fake ass Taco Bell, Chipotle. Man, I was hoping Chipotle would. Did they go private? I always have trouble spelling Chipotle. Shit, Chipotle. God, hold on. Let me just type in Mexican grill, man. Fuck this shit. There we go. Okay, so they did. Oh, they're still doing pretty good. Oh no, actually, okay, they've sold off quite a bit, but they're trying to come back. Man, for the longest, I tried to catch the top in Chipotle because I knew at the end of the day, bro, that thing had gotten up to like 1,700, 1,800, or something like that. Obviously, they did a reverse split, a forward split rather. And I tried to catch the top of that. I got burned on Chipotle because at the end of the day, bro, it's a fucking Mexican restaurant, fake ass Mexican restaurant. And then they started doing the thing where they were cheating people off portions, and they hired the worst people in the world to not give you enough meat. You know what I'm saying? Chipotle was a cool place to go to get like really bang for your buck, and then they started really being sensitive about that. It's like the motherfuckers at McDonald's who always like don't want to give you more sauce packets. Motherfucker, just give me a damn sauce packet, man. You know what I'm saying? I used to work at McDonald's as a kid. Y'all got 20, 30 boxes of sauce packets back there. I need more than two or three for these 40-piece nuggets. You know what I'm saying? Stop being a bitch. Give me some barbecue sauce. You know? I've had to raise my voice at one or two before because it's ridiculous, man. Stop being an asshole. And it's like they want you to ask again. So you gotta, hey, can I get more? And like, motherfucker, I didn't tell you to work here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't tell you to work here. You know? And I don't know if I'm the only one that noticed like fast food after COVID has been fucking terrible. Before COVID, you would at least go to, you know what I mean? You go to McDonald's, you go to KFC, like, hey, thank you. Welcome to KFC. Welcome to McDonald's. How can I get your order today? Now, you don't, bro, they don't even say thank you for coming. They don't say thank you for coming. They don't say, hey, I'm happy you're here. They don't say anything. You know? It's crazy, bro. McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, all these places now, they're just really good places to slime. But other than that, they're terrible for customer service, man. Customer service in fast food since COVID has gone down a lot. It's gone down a lot. You know, it's gone down a lot. They got the auto order says they're about to fire everyone at fast food. Oh, eventually, yeah. Eventually, yeah. They about to fire a lot of these motherfuckers. Absolutely. And it's going to be sad because, fast food has been particularly a way for young people to get opportunities to, make a little bit of money. You're working at home, you're making a little bit of money. I mean, now you've got all these free platforms to go out here and act a fool and make some real money, you know. Uh, but for those people who are shy, those people who don't want to put themselves out there or who don't have the information, fast food was the way to go out there and get some skills. Most of us here in the chat, you start out probably working fast food. You know what I'm saying? Unless you had somebody in your family who had a business or some shit like that, you worked fast food. You know what I'm saying? You had a family member, who got you in there. You know, I don't even remember my first job. I worked at Burger King. I think my mom filled out the application. I was 13 going on 14, and I wanted to play on the football team in high school. But my family, I knew my family, they weren't going to spend no money for like, the swag, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted a visor, I wanted gloves, I wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted swag. So I think my mom hooked me up and I got a job at Burger King working the drive-through. And yeah, man, the owner hated me. I don't know why, but he didn't have no one else to do the job, but he didn't like me at all. It was now in hindsight, that guy couldn't have been more than maybe 35 at the time. He was an asshole. He was an asshole. Real asshole. But yeah, fast food was a way that a lot of young people get their start. But would I want my kid to do fast food now? No, no. I would rather have her do some e-commerce stuff. Just because you know what you learn from doing e-commerce, doing your own business, is significantly more impactful to your life than working at Burger King. You know what I'm saying? The only thing you learn is how horrible people are when they're hungry or when they think they're hungry. Because most of the people who go to these fast food places, you're not hungry. You think you're hungry and you think you need that nasty food, but it's your weakness. It's that weakness in you that pulls up into the drive-through and spends, 35 dollars in food that we everybody knows gives you cancer. It's that weakness in you. You know what I'm saying? I've had to learn how to accept that. Why am I sitting in this drive-through for food that I know causes cancer? That's crazy. I'm literally killing myself. You know what I'm saying? I know these companies serve poison and I'm still in line. I'm mad at myself knowing that I've given my daughter, McDonald's French fries before and all that bullshit. You know, yeah, Chick-fil-A got good service. Yeah, Chick-fil-A is does have good service. Chick-fil-A does have good service. Man, I don't want to get myself in trouble, but man, there's a well, I don't know. It's been a couple of years now. She don't probably work there anymore, but there was a young lady that worked at the Chick-fil-A in Greensboro, North Carolina, was coming back. Bro, her jugs were huge. Her jugs were huge. I mean, small little frame. I was like, fuck. And the problem is that I had my girl with me at the time, so I'm just like, fuck. Can I drop? You know, I'm figuring out like how can I spin the block to come back and grab homegirl number. You know what I'm saying? But that's man. She probably long gone by that. But I hate that shit when I see a fine shorty, but I'm with another girl. So I can't. You can't. You know, you gotta put those ideas away. But man, that was frustrating. That was frustrating. I remember like a week or two later, I went back there and she wasn't there. You know, but I knew I had got her name. I don't remember her name now, but I had gotten her name and she wasn't there. And I think I checked maybe one more time. I think one more time I checked and she wasn't there. Yeah. It's always like that for some reason. Yeah. I can't say no much. I smoke tobacco. Oh, okay. Well, smoking tobacco isn't that bad, is it? I don't think smoking, if you smoke raw tobacco, I don't think it's that bad. right? If you smoke cigars, I don't think some cigars aren't unhealthy, are they? I don't know. I don't know. But I've always thought cigars weren't that healthy. Someone says she found a sponsor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These girls go quick, man. Women go quick in general, man. Like, if if you're walking away from a woman that you've already experienced, then you don't really care. But 9 times out of 10, like 3 to 6 months later, if she was the type of woman you really like, then you're mad because you're like, fuck, why did I let her go? Why did I, you know, walk away from what I know I like? That's why I don't really dump women anymore. I don't dump women. I don't ever cut women off. I'll slow down, I'll slow down our interaction and stuff like that if she hasn't been acting right. But I don't cut women off no more. Because you being a man, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna want to, especially if she never really did you wrong, but she's just like a greedy ass girl, like, you know what I'm saying? She's just a greedy ass woman, or, then they tend to kind of grow out of that eventually. They tend to do grow out of that. So you don't really want to cut somebody off, cut a girl off, do something really horrible to where she like can't stand your voice or can't even stand to look at you no more. I try not to ever put myself in those kind of positions. You know. All right, let's look at one more ticker, shall we? Somebody give me a good ticker, man. Somebody give me a good ticker. Something we can make some money on, man. Something we can make some money on, man. But these zero DTEs I'm killing it on these zero DTEs right now. I'm killing on these zero DTEs right now. I really am. Zillow. I always thought, man, Zillow is one of those stocks that, like, I'm thinking, how does the real estate market have enough for all of these companies in this space? But Zillow is still around. You know, Zillow is still around. Invitation Homes. Okay, that's still a bullshit company, but they pay a good dividend though. If they are who I think they are, they do pay a really they do pay a pretty good dividend. Invitation Homes. ASTS. Okay. Yeah, those shout out to you and those space people. There's a pullback on this space, so this is where you might want to get your entry. Uh, Man, I'd like to see it pull back a little bit further back. You know what I'm saying? Because this is kind of what I try to look for to see, a stock trying to make a second run. Man, because that's not even. I mean, it's a pullback, but boy, I would love to see something stronger. But if you're in it, I can understand why you would want to, you know, have it go down further if you're already in it. But man, can I get 92? Can I get 96? Looks like you touched 96 today. Oh, okay, you actually did touch 96 today. Or low, low, low 97. Okay, so yeah, shout out to you, man. Intuitive Machines. Intuitive Machines. Don't know anything about this company. Aerospace play though. Um, JP Morgan has been putting out videos on YouTube. JP Morgan, and they had one video on AI where they broke down all the catalysts or potential catalysts for an AI move, and then they broke down the stock into categories. I'm gonna find that and provide that to you guys. And it's in the video somewhere. Uh, oh no, not J.P. Morgan. Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley. Let me see if I can find. But there's a in the video. There's a. Let me see here. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. I found it now. I just want to. I found the. Damn, it's so small though. The text is small as hell. Okay. If you go to the 21-minute mark, so here's the video. Let me at least give you the video. So there's the video that they provide. And then if you go to the 21-minute mark in the video, 21 minute, like 50 seconds, they provide about 21 minute, 50 seconds, 21 minutes, 60 seconds. They provide a breakdown of stocks that they believe are going to be the catalyst. Okay, here it is right here. Okay. So I'm doing research on these plays right now, and I'll have more to come on Friday's show. But obviously we have the Nvidias, you have the Intels, and they break it down by what is going to and how it's going to impact the space, meaning AI robots, right? Batteries, semis, sensors, magnets, cameras, encoders. What is this? Gears, reducers, screws, bearings. I mean, because this space is legit, man. It's a legit space. It's a legit need, and it's something that we should all definitely get active in. You know, we should all definitely get active in. So get that video and look and write down. Now, of course, I will present some of those tickers on Friday, but this is an opportunity for you also to, do a little research on those for this, particularly those of you guys who like ETFs. Make sure your ETFs got some access to some of that stuff. You know, your ETFs got some access to some of that stuff. Because those are the companies that are going to be leading the way and breaking out. Because these AI robots are legit, man. There are some real serious use cases out here, particularly when we start looking at like elder care and um, the fact that we've got some manufacturing. We want to bring manufacturing back to America. The AI bots could be the catalyst to bring them back here because the biggest thing that was preventing you know production here in America was labor cost. It was all about, oh, the American worker is too expensive. The American worker needs this amount of health care and they need this retirement plan and all. Okay, well, now it's a robot. Bring it to America. Bring it to America. You know, will that happen? Time will tell. Time will tell. You know, we actually got to see it follow through. Somebody said GMMI, Gemini Space Station. What the hell is that? It doesn't look so hot, my man. I don't know what happened there, but It looks like it was not doing so hot. Yeah, don't know anything about Gemini space station. This is kind of reminds me kind of one of those SPACs when those SPACs had came out during COVID. Every damn celebrity and their mama had a SPAC, and all of them basically went to zero. They basically took advantage of all the cash everyone had lying around during COVID, and those were incredible shorting opportunities. You just didn't have enough money to short. Mhm. There were shorts all over the place, but there weren't enough. There was everybody's just we all don't have enough money, and I had so much money tied into Beyond Meat, excuse me. I had way too much money tied into that, so I was too busy trying to short this to death. Shout out to Beyond Meat, man. I made so many videos on Beyond Meat calling that the greatest pump and dump, and I still stand by that. The greatest pump and dump of all time, Beyond Meat. Greatest pump and dump. They had the media involved. They had CNBC. They had everybody and their mama, you know, playing this company up. The greatest pump and dump of all time. He said they stole everyone's money and ran off into the subset. That's absolutely what they did. That is absolutely what they did. And here's the thing, folks. That SPAC era is coming back. That SPAC era is coming back. Look, we're going to have another moment of time where interest rates, right? Particularly Jerome Powell is about to get kicked out here in a couple months, right? Jerome Powell is out in May, guys. Jerome Powell is out in May. So we know he's going to put a flacky in there who's going to do as he says. We're going to have interest rates go back, down to historic lows. And that SPAC era will be right back here. The key now is just to stay, keep yourself in a position where you're not having to start over because the good times are just about to come back. The good times are just about to come back, man. Just stay tight. Seriously. The good times are just around the corner. He just needs to get rid of Jerome. Once he gets rid of Jerome Powell, all right, I'm telling you, it's the Pluto, bro. It's the Pluto. It's the Pluto on these markets. MU, yeah, bro. MU, all these. Look, go listen to what some of these guys who fix computers are saying, bro. This is how bad it's gotten now for DDR5 memory. You've got people who used to sell used computers. They are taking the memory out of the computers and selling the memory separate. So now you're buying computers with no memory because it's the memory itself. You can sell it for damn near the cost of the laptop. Because the memory is that valuable, particularly DDR5 memory. Look up on eBay how much DDR5 memory. It's doubled. It's doubled. We're not talking about DDR2, DDR3. No, we're talking about DDR5 or higher memory. That's how in demand these things are right now. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane, man. Funk Fashion, man, I don't even want to hear about weed stocks anymore. I'm so fucking tired of weed stocks. I don't want to. Man, we were so hopeful, bro. For those of you guys who've been watching me long enough, I remember when this was a conversation with Trump's first term. Oh, he's going to deregulate, and he was down for it. This is a Republican talking about deregulating marijuana. The Democrats weren't going to do that shit. Fuck those people. They weren't going to do that shit. And then, here comes the Republicans. They obviously are more interested in ways to be able to generate capital without necessarily taxing people. So of course they were much more friendly to the idea of, legalizing marijuana in that aspect as a way to generate, tax dollars. Okay, you had elections, you had a bunch of states legalize it, and it didn't hit the bottom line in any stock. It didn't hit the bottom line on anything. If you remember, is MJ still an ETF? Okay, yeah, here's the MJ ETF. Here it is right here. Bro, I remember this like, bro, I was on top of this. In fact, you had this was like the height of Twitter under the previous ownership, where you had a group of guys. He called, and there was one guy in particular. He called himself the Wolf of Weed Street, the Wolf of Weed Street, and he convinced all of these other clowns on Twitter to change their avatars to a wolf. So if you were in that group, you were a follower of this guy called the Wolf of Weed Street. There's still, I mean, you can go on Twitter and find some of these old accounts out there. It was literally like 1,000 guys who were just crazy about weed stocks, and none of them made any money. None of them made any money, bro. It literally all went to shit. None of them made any money. They wasted a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? That shit died quick. That shit died quick, man. Yeah. I don't know if anybody in here was around 2017, but yeah, he was called the Wolf of Weed Street. And he was a personality on Twitter that was basically pushing weed stocks all over social media. And those guys lost millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars was lost in those stocks that never ever really made any money. Never made any money. What's going on, Mark? Just shooting the shit, talking stocks. We've already talked quite a few stocks already. Most of the stocks that we were following died a quick death. Rest in peace. Absolutely. You know. But I mean, you had to go through that to learn how to trade properly, because I was not trading properly, particularly dealing with small cap stocks and you know uh, getting burned a lot, getting burned a lot. You know, all the while when what I should have been trading stocks like AMD. You know what I'm saying? I'd do anything to go back in time and get some 2016, 2017 AMD. That would have been life changing. That would have been life changing. You know, that would have been absolutely life changing. Nvidia 20. Can you imagine getting Nvidia in 2017? Life changing. You know what I'm saying? Life changing. You said bought a house and furniture. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, so but again, yes, as you mentioned, you live and you learn, and now look, we are now trading reputable companies with reputable, businesses underneath them. Companies that have real moats and that are going to be around, and we're putting money to work, and we're doing it the right way. You know, we're doing it the right way, and I'm proud of myself for that. You know, missed a lot of money not being able to trade, Apple, weekly calls, just, you know, rolling the dice on Apple weekly calls, 2017, 2018, week after week after week. Shitload of guys who, again, who knew how to follow the trends, made a lot of money doing that, simply following the trends. And it's not like these books that we know now that we read. It's not like they weren't available then. They were available. They were available then. You just weren't paying attention to them because, again, you didn't have the knowledge. I didn't have a mentor at the time because you really didn't have. Well, there were a few mentors out there, but they weren't really trying to talk to us anyway. See, Apple is my favorite stock. Made thousands. Yeah, made thousands on Apple, but made them too late. Made them too late. You know, I would love to have Apple in 2017, 2018. You know, but hey, this is why we have gold now. This is why we have some of these junior miners. These junior miners, are going to be making, a shitload of money. Go look inside what's in GDX. Go look inside those GDX and that component. Those stocks are doing incredibly, incredibly well. Or you can just go ahead and trade the ETF. You can do that as well too. But these are stocks that are making life-changing money right now. So don't stand on the sidelines while we have a generational run right now happening in gold. This is a generational run right now in gold. Because I'm telling you right now, within 5 years, we're going to be talking $10,000 an ounce gold. $10,000 an ounce gold. And you don't want to be, well, why didn't I buy no GLD when it was, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be that guy. Just get it now, right? Get yourself a leap option and ride that motherfucker. You know? Said charging stocks died a horrible death. Yeah, charging stocks died a horrible death because they realized the federal government wasn't going to invest. We don't have a federal government that's willing and ready to make the investments in infrastructure. Okay? That's why now if you see an infrastructure stock run, look at this. We don't have a company, we don't have a government that's X. Hold on. They've been bought out. If you see an infrastructure stock, all right, like CAT, the only reason why CAT is running is because the dollar's losing value. The dollar's losing value. It's not about U.S. investments. It's about the third world growing. You know, pull up an infrastructure stock that's hot, and I'm almost guaranteed it's because of how much they make outside of the U.S. Folks, we've wasted 35 years, $14 trillion for that country out in the Middle East, and we have nothing to show for it. That all that money that could have been used to invest in America, you know. But I digress. The trick is being able to hold until it reaches 10K. That's I mean, you got to. You got to, Darth. I mean, Bitcoin is eventually going to do its thing, right? We know Bitcoin. Don't be foolish on Bitcoin and think, oh, it's never going to. I mean, when Bitcoin does what we expect in Bitcoin, it's going to reprice. It's not even going to run. It's going to reprice. I say that over and over again. It's just you're going to wake up one day and Bitcoin is the gap between where it is and where it's going to be. You're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? What's the worst case scenario you see for the stock market in general over, say, the next 4 years post Trump administration? Worst case scenario for the stock market? I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. We gotta hope this man lives and that nothing happens to him for the rest of his term. We gotta hope for that. We gotta hope that. I'm not necessarily afraid of Gavin Newsom because, again, you can do things in California you can't do on a national level, right? So I'm not afraid of Gavin Newsom, right? I'm not, and I really don't think he's that bad of a guy. The gay shit is always going to be unnerving, but I'm not worried about his politics per se because I don't even think he's as left as the left makes him out to be. Because I think sometimes you got to be a certain way in California that once you get into that White House, you can't be that way. So my worst case scenario, even before a re-election, is the fact that something happens to Donald J. Trump. That is going to be really bad, man. That's going to be really, really bad. That's going to be really, really bad because everybody behind him is, for the most part, a warmonger, poor, and has no ability to stand up for what they believe in. They are base. Everybody behind Donald Trump is basically a slave to money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Everybody behind him, nobody behind Donald Trump's got the guts to stand up to money, except him. I mean, how you can't, you know, Israel's got something on them. That's clear. All right, they got something on them. We've talked about that again. I never saw Donald Trump pull out a chair for a motherfucker before. That told me everything I need to know about that relationship. But again, if something were to happen to him, the people behind him, they not going to pull out chairs. They licking nuts, bro. That's how down they are. They're licking balls. That's how low they go. So that would be my. I mean, I could see the market losing, man. Something like that were to happen 4, 5, 7% in a day, because this whole country would do a complete 180 when it comes down to, like, certain ways of thinking about government and you know taxation. There'll be a lot of changes that won't be for the benefit of you and me. You know what I'm saying? We definitely go into war again. Russia would definitely be on the table. Would be a go. You know what I'm saying? JD Vance, bro. If JD Vance was president, we'd be in war in Iran right now. You know what I'm saying? These people they don't have a backbone, man. JD Vance doesn't have a backbone. He's on Twitter right now pretending to act like Donald Trump. He doesn't have a backbone. This is a guy who's changed his name 3 times. Nobody really knows who the fuck JD Vance is. I've tried to study the guy. You don't really know who the fuck this man is. You know? And Gavin Newsom is going to crush him. I mean, let's just, I'm going to tell you right now. Can I put money on Gavin Newsom right now on Poly Market? Hold on, Gavin Newsom Poly Market. Can I put money on Gavin Newsom right now? Okay, Gavin Newsom's already at 35%. Yeah, just give it to Gavin Newsom, man. Just go ahead and give it to Gavin Newsom. Ain't nobody else gonna come close. I'll put a little bit on Gavin Newsom. I'll put a little bit on Michelle Obama, just in case. Uh, but ain't nobody gonna be even close. This is, you know, you know. I ain't gonna lie, man. Gavin Newsom is a no homo, but he's a pretty motherfucker, man. We live in a social media age. He's a pretty motherfucker, and we live in a social media age, and we'll never see Trump again. We'll never see a Trump character again. So the next person who's going to be he's going to have to be somebody who's like really GQ, somebody who's really like, swagged out. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to be. And if the Republicans are if they're smart, they're going to find some young hot chick. She's got to be relatively young. Obviously, you still got to be 35, but maybe someone like 36, 37 at the time. At the time, she's got to be fucking sexy. She can't be too masculine, right? She can't come off like Hillary Clinton, and she's got to be able to, like, you know, dangle that line. She's got to look like what What's that lady from Alaska who ran with John McCain? She's got to come off like Sarah Palin. She's got to look like Sarah Palin. If the Republicans can find a woman who looks like Sarah Palin and run her for president, right? She look like Sarah Palin in what is that, 2004? Was that 2004, 2008? They can pull it off. They might be able to pull it off. They might be able to pull it off. Shit, they might have to go get Sarah Palin. Shit, how old is Sarah Palin right now? She doesn't look the same. That's the only. Oh, she's 61. Damn, I didn't know she was that old. Yeah, she doesn't look the same anymore. So, yeah, yeah, she doesn't look the same no more. Yeah, she doesn't look the same no more. When she was in her 40s back in '08, she looked a lot better. Yeah, she don't look the same. Paul Singer from Elliott got every politician named sicko. Yeah, I talked about that on the recent episode about Paul Singer. You know what I'm saying? Paul Singer. Is it California politics? Look how they did Irving. Yeah, California is a weird place, man. It's a weird group of people. It's really sad what they've done to California. I mean, California is what it looks like when you put Democrats in position to control everything. You create an elite, a financial elite that has everything, and then everybody else. You know, next to liberalism is totalitarianism. They're literally partners in crime, and that's what you have in California. It's basically totalitarianism because the Republicans aren't competitive statewide. They're not even competitive anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because they flooded their state with immigrants. They flooded, you know, it's just horrible, man. And I don't want to break it down too down, but it's terrible what's happened to California. And you can find some of these old videos on social media. California was a beautiful place to live. In the 70s, in the 80s, the early 90s, California was a beautiful place to raise a family, man. You know, now you got people running away from California. Look what happened to the guy who owned Cash App. People ended up finding out it was a jealous person, but they were at the time when he first got stabbed. People thought he got stabbed by a homeless man because that's what homeless people are doing out there. They're killing people. They're you know shitting on the sidewalk. Literally, you know, open defecation in America. In America, bro. Open defecation on the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Yeah. Open defecation, bro. It's the saddest thing ever. Chicago, Illinois is oh yeah, man, Chicago, man. Look, Chicago's a lost cause, man. Chicago's a lost cause. Trump tried to bring in the feds in there to clean that up. Unfortunately, I just saw a post yesterday where this black mother of 5 got gunned down walking to church. Gunned down walking to church, a mother of 5. How fucking disgusting do you have to be to gun down a mother of 5 going to church? You're fucking animals. You're not even a human being. You're a fucking animal. You know what I'm saying? And people like that, communities like that, you need to swarm them with law enforcement and deal with the people severely. That's not people who need to be like re-educated or giving like job opportunities. Oh, let's just give them jobs. Let's give no, those people like that need to be arrested, throw away the key. There's nothing you can do for people like that in the society. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing you can do for people like that. You know? We have flooded this country with the lowest of the low type of people. And we got to be honest about that, man. If it wasn't for the fact that, we have relatively strong laws in this country and we've got a lot of strong men, particularly in law enforcement, we'd look like Europe. Shout out to all the badass cops out there. We still got, we still, I don't want to say unfortunately, thankfully, we still got a lot of badass cops out there who still want to be the good guy. We still got a lot of men in America who still wake up in the morning and want to be the good guy, who want to go out there and take down criminals. All right? We still got a lot of men like that who still are around, thankfully. Thankfully, you know. Philadelphia is a rundown. DC is outrageous. Yeah, all these, predominantly liberal places are just like that. And it's not a black thing, it's not a Latino thing, man. It's women, to be honest with you. It all goes back to women, bro. They love government. Big Daddy government is their new man. And as marriage rates continue to fall, you're going to have women who, you know, build relationship with government because they don't have husbands, so they're going to, fall in love with government because government is going to be their man. Do you know what I'm saying? So when they fall in love with government, of course, they're going to love big government programs and welfare and all this stuff that they can't imagine themselves, talking about things like free market. And women they don't understand that. They don't understand free market ideology. They don't understand, the idea of the Second Amendment and what it does. And they don't, they don't know anything about loyalty. They don't know anything about country. They don't know anything about duty. Everything is like protect me, protect consensus. You know what I'm saying? Because again, women are not strong enough to defend their ideas, right? Men literally give their lives for defending their ideas. So for women, it's all about just safety in numbers. Well, what provides safe government? Let's just all band together and let's be all in one big, big fucking happy family. And that's what the Democrats sell to them. You're not going to have a country if these people come back in power, man, in a major way. I don't care if they win the presidency, but if they win the Senate, they win the House of Representatives, these people will destroy this country, man. These people will destroy this country. We can make it through a Democratic presidency, but, you know, Democrats controlling both houses of government for 4, 8, or 16 years, you're not going to have a country. You're not going to have a country. You're going to have fucking Rwanda. That's what it's going to look like. You know what I'm saying? That's just me spitting real shit. It's not even a black, again, it's not a black thing, not a white thing, that's just real shit. Understand how these people think. They don't even want you to homeschool your kids. All right? They don't even want you to be able to reject, putting particular things in your body. How about that? You know what I'm saying? They tried to force us to take this experimental medication, bro. They literally tried to force you to do that. You had lawyers had to go to the Supreme Court. They had to go to the Supreme Court to stop the government from forcing you to take an experimental medication that they were given to you for free. They won't give you an inhaler for free. They won't give you life-saving cancer drugs for free. But they were going to give you an experimental drug that didn't even prevent the, man, don't even get me started, man. You said they want to chop yo, man, of course. They don't care. They don't care, bro. They don't care. You know, understand, like, the only thing I'm with them on that is probably the legalization of X work, because the Democrats are going to legalize X work because they don't have a solution. All their solution is the dopamine, bro. That's all they have for you is the dopamine. They don't have any other solution but the dopamine. You know? Think about it. Trump has been in office now for 1 year, right? We just passed the 1 year yesterday. Have the Democrats made a Newt Gingrich style 1995 promise to America? Nothing. They haven't done shit. Because they don't give a fuck, bro. They don't care. You understand? These people don't care. You would think they're like, okay, you know, they didn't vote for us. Let's go back into the lab. Let's reassess our thoughts, our belief systems. They're so far gone, they don't even allow themselves to reassess why they lost. They still haven't even done that debate yet within the party. And I'm not even no big fucking Republican. I'm just stating the facts. They haven't even reassessed what they believe in. That's how ingrained, that's how committed they are to, you know, the Rainbow Coalition. That's all they care about. Don't care about your fucking jobs. Don't care about the dollar. Don't care about the deficit. When was the last time you saw a Democrat talk about the deficit, man? They don't give a fuck. Talk about jobs. Do they even talk about jobs anymore? I haven't seen a Democrat talk about jobs in shit, I don't know how long. I don't even talk about jobs no more, man. Who are these people? Who the fuck are these people, man? Yeah, and the small head. Yeah, they just pretend like, you know, they hate what's going on in Israel. They ain't gonna do shit about it. Bro, you had Joe Biden and Kamala in the White House while that country in the Middle East was doing what they were doing. Sat there and watched it happen. Sat there and watched it happen. Come on, man. Killing those poor women and children. You ought to be ashamed of your damn self, man. Watched it happen. You know, I'm ashamed of my country. I'm watching videos on X of, you know, 3-year-old kids with bullets in their head. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. What kind of shit is that? What kind of leadership is that? You know what I'm saying? I'll be ashamed of ourselves, man. Kids walking to school under gunfire. You don't be a fucking ashamed of yourself. I have more respect for the man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong. The man who comes up like an angel and nothing but the devil. Yeah, both of them, and both sides, man. But one is a greater devil. You know what I'm saying? One is a greater devil. And the Democrats are by far the greater devil because what they're into, man, is wicked on a whole nother scale. It's evil on a whole nother scale. You know what I'm saying? These people protect people who hurt children and You know what I'm saying? They fight back against laws. They literally fight back against laws that protect kids, particularly from actual violence. I don't want to use the word, but you know what I'm talking about. These people are wicked, man. You know, that's why when they were in power, you couldn't talk about those Epstein files when they were in power because they protect those people, man. They're not about to pass no law to protect kids. Come on, man. That's their MO. That's their MO, man. That's their MO. That's what they want the most. That's what they want the most, bro. They gonna legalize it. I'm telling you right now. That's why there's no Nickelodeon anymore. There's no Disney Channel anymore. There is no stepping stone to adulthood for children. Now, if you're a child, all you do is watch Cardi B. All you do is watch Megan Thee Stallion. There's no stepping stone into adulthood anymore. Because the people on the left decided if we want to have these kids go in the direction we want them to do, which is engage in more sexual activity earlier and earlier in life, we need to get them on our program. So we get rid of the Disney Channel. We getting rid of Nickelodeon. We getting rid of those stepping stones. You know, there are no stepping stones anymore. Notice that, bro. I'm trying to find them for my kids. That's why all the kids now into the Japanese. You got to go into the Japanese shows now just to find some decent shit for your kids. Yeah, hit them like button, man. Hit that like button. It's crazy shit out here. They took out Gaddafi and let the slave trade happen. Yeah, they know what they're doing, man. Look, look what's going on in Syria right now. You know, the Kurds, the Kurds are about to lose because the jihadists are back. ISIS is back now in Syria in a major way. So now Syria is about to have a crisis where you're going to start seeing all of these Syrians moving to Europe because ISIS is now back in control in Syria. The Kurds have lost a significant amount of land and territory in Raqqa. I know I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but yeah, man, a lot of shit is going crazy, bro. A lot of shit's going crazy, you know. And again, we're all doing this for that country out there that don't give a fuck about us anyway. These people have free health care. They go to college for free, and we over here suffering for them. It's crazy, bro. And you ask these politicians, why are we giving them money? Oh man, I mean, they can't even tell you why. They can't even tell you why. You know what I'm saying? They can't even tell you why. That's why these people aren't even afraid of the Second Amendment. We got the guns and they still doing us dirty. We got the guns and they still doing us dirty because we've been brainwashed. And that's the thing our grandkids are going to look at. It's going to like, damn, 100 million Americans with guns and they still let 325 people fuck them in the ass like this? It's crazy, man. Trade the weekly chart with daily time frame entries. Okay. Appreciate the help. Hell yeah, this man was a fucking jihadist. Yeah, absolutely. He said with no lube. Yeah, with no lube, bro. You know what I'm saying? With the shit coming out, bro. Because we're overweight with McDonald's and French fries and all that shit with the turd coming out, bro. The turd is the lube. The turd is the lube, bro. We don't need no lube. The turd coming out that pussy is the lube. Because we're all fucking loaded with that nasty preservative shit. Yeah, man. Homeboy was in the White House shaking hands with. This is crazy. This is crazy. That's just to prove that we don't know what the fuck we doing, bro. We don't know what the fuck we doing, man. We don't know what the fuck. We just guessing. We guessing in Syria. We guessing in Iraq. We guessing in Iran what's going to happen. That's the only reason why they backed off of Iran because they saw shit. We about to have 55 million people in the doorstep of Europe, right? Because Iran is just as diverse as Iraq and many of these other countries in the Middle East. You're going to have sectarian violence like crazy. That's the only reason why we backed off. That's the only reason why we backed off. What do you think about AI in regards to the future dangers, the job market? Well, look, I mean, they've already told you that, uh, I feel sorry for women because I think women are at the height of the lunacy that they've reached at. I think this is the height of that. And a lot of women are in jobs that, for the most part, are fake jobs. Okay. A lot of women are doing, for the most part, fake jobs. These are jobs that are repetitive, jobs that require data entry, sitting in front of a computer a lot. And they are really at risk for particularly customer service over the phone. You know what I mean? There are millions of women who make a living simply being on the phone, and they're about to lose their ass. And no one is being realistic with them about getting ready to sit their ass at home because they're not going to have a job. That's why it goes back to again X work. That's why OnlyFans is still out here because they know that millions of women are going to be pushed into X work because they're not going to have a job. If you're one of these women who are not good at math and science, you're not going to have a job. And that's why we have women now talking about get into the trades. Yeah, I'm a woman. I'm a woman in the trades. That's how that's how fucked up the shit is because they are so hell bent on not being under the rule of a man that they will literally try to go into the trades and do what men have. But you're only out in the you're not man, I don't even want to go. You're not going to contribute like a man is going to contribute. You're not going to contribute the same way. You're not going to pull those hoses. You're not pulling 65, 75-pound hoses. You're not going to do it. So we're going to be in a situation where we're forcing these companies to make adjustments just to have you on board. So that means now higher costs. That means worse. I don't know, man. But I'm excited about how things are going to be accomplished faster in regards to AI. I'm loving hearing the things about, cancer research in particular and what it's doing with cancer research. Um, I'm excited. I'm excited. My problem is that I don't see costs going down. I don't see costs going down. That's the frustrating thing. America is we're not really good at bringing technology, particularly lately, bringing technology and then having it lower costs for people. Right? We used to be really good at that, particularly back in the early 1900s. Look what we did with the automobile. All right? Look what we did with the automobile. From 1901 we were horse and buggies, right? For damn near 200, 300 years, and then from 1901 to 1920 we made automobiles so cheap, damn near every man and every working man could have one. We got to a point where literally men who had just gotten off the plantation, just gotten off the plantation within one generation, were able to have vehicles. Right? We were able to have vehicles, and I'm not seeing AI uh, lowering costs, particularly when it comes to medicine because we have such an ingrained medical system that is so exploitative. Our medical system in America is so exploitive, you know, that these robots who are going to be able to do surgery cheaper than any other surgeon, right? They can do it for now, better than any surgeon can do it for now. Are they going to actually have it to be a point where it's that cheap? Are they going to let it happen? Can we be that country again? You know what I'm saying? Can we be that country again? I don't know. Can we be that country again that lowered the price of electricity to a point where every city in America was able to get electricity because we were able to lower the price of that thing so low now it was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Can we be that country again? You know? And again, that was America prior to the formation of a central bank, prior to fiat currency. So I don't know if we can even be that country again where this technology can really like flourish the way it should flourish, the way we think it's going to flourish. Because who's going to make the investment? All right? We used to be a country that made the investment, right? That got behind technology to make sure that those prices got down low enough so that everybody can have it. You know, Henry Ford did what he had to do, but the government was a big part of that. The government was a big part of that. The guy who created the light bulb, or at least who made electricity, gosh, his name is not. But again, the government was a big part of that. He had a lot of government money to help him, spread electricity across the country. That was a lot of government money. You know, so where I'm asking you, at $38 trillion in debt, where does the investment come from to put a robot in every single home? Right? Where's the money come from? What party is going to be willing to make the sacrifice? You know what I'm saying? That's our problem. That's our problem. You're looking across the ocean, and you can Google this. China makes more drones in one day than the United States makes in a whole year. That's a fact. That's a fact. China, they've got affordable education, affordable health care. They're graduating 250,000 PhD computer scientists every single fucking year. And that's government. That's what happens when you don't have 1,000 bases around the world. You can invest in people. You can sell cars for $2,000. China's got $6,000 cars, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like we're destroying ourselves. And people are saying, "Oh man, you're being pessimistic." Well, I'm looking at the future, bro, and it's not looking very good, man. Here, listen to this. We're sitting here being hopeful about robots when we should be hopeful about the next generation for our children. Oh, our children's children. It's not very much hope for them. Look at what we're passing down to them. We're not passing down to them anything significant. You know what I'm saying? They're getting you excited about, well, the next generation is going to be the wealthiest generation. What wealth, bro? It's literally being eaten at. What are you talking about? You know? And I don't mean to go on rants on politics. It's just that you can't talk about money and not talk about politics in this country. Can't, you know. It's an educated population. Well, that's the problem, man. It's the education hasn't been helpful, man. Bro, we got over a third over 40 million, or well over 40, maybe 50 million American women with college degrees, and what good has it done for us? No one's going to answer that question. What productivity have we gotten out of that? Granted, I clap for all the women who are doctors, all the women who are real scientists. I clap for you. But a majority of them are working at Starbucks. Majority of them are fucking social work, fucking teachers. Ain't doing no real. I mean, come on, you know. On social media, telling us we're not shit, you know. And when was the last time you saw a woman make a road, build a house, hell, make a computer? I don't remember the last time I've seen a woman even build a computer. Have you seen a woman build a computer? I think I've only seen one woman build a computer before. But they own that shit every day, ain't they? You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta, man. And again, we're not gonna be able to talk this freely for very long because you know they don't believe in the First Amendment. Women don't believe in the First Amendment. They don't even know what that is. You know what I mean? They have an idea, but they don't believe in the First Amendment. As much as they lie to each other, bro. I've gone to dinner with a woman. I'm gonna tell you a short story. I went to dinner with a woman, beautiful woman. We're sitting down. This overweight couple sits next to us. I think they were on a date or something. She looks at the woman. She's like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." And I'm like, "Why did you tell her that?" And she's like, "Oh, she looks so pretty." Like, you know that girl is not pretty. Why did you just tell this 330-pound woman who looks like she's a hamburger away from a heart attack? Why did you tell her she's a beautiful woman? Oh, I just wanted her to feel good. What the fuck? So you would just straight up fucking lie to her just for her to feel good? That was like the first concept that I was taught that like women will literally tell each other things, complete lies. Fucking complete lies, bro. This woman was literally like, what's that show on TLC with like My 600-Pound Life? That was this woman. That was what I'm talking. Why the fuck would you lie to her and tell her? I was like, why would you say that shit? But that's what they do to each other. Now, can you imagine putting women who think like that on the Supreme Court, in the White House, top branches of our military, top positions? These people don't have any concepts of like duty or honor or any. They don't believe in any of that stuff, man. That's real shit. And I'm not saying 100% of women, but at least 90% of them. They've got no concepts, bro. No concepts of what it takes to 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 hold a union together, the necessary belief systems you need to hold to maintain what we got going here. And we will destroy this country if we allow what they got going on to keep going on. That's why I'm all for AI. I'm all for AI. Look at the biggest haters of AI. It's women. If you really look online and talk and go look for the videos who are the biggest haters of artificial intelligence, it's women. Because they know like the game is up. They know the jig is up for a lot of the bullshit that they do. It doesn't allow you to lie. It doesn't allow you to gaslight people. It's all about uncovering information. I can put something on my face that'd be able to read your facial expressions to let me know if you're full of shit when I ask you, hey, how many bodies do you have? Oh, I only got 3. Okay, really? ChatGPT just said that's a fucking lie. They can't stand the technology, bro. They can't stand the technology. They're not ready. They're not ready, man. That's real shit. You know what I'm saying? They're not ready for the technology, man. They're not ready for the future. And I'm going to tell you right now, you look at in Congress, you see what these went. Look at these female congressmen. They're the ones writing the bills to stop the shit. They want the progress to stop because they know. They know. I'm telling you, you leave them on their own, and they go ahead and trend towards chaos in everything they do. They trend towards chaos. In every aspect, they trend towards chaos, man. You know? Said women is not the problem. The problem is the system. I don't know about that because the system worked for a long time. The system worked for a long time. The system worked for a long time, man. You know? Beta male cucketry. That's what happened. Beta male cucketry. Oh yeah, they can't stand it. I'm telling you, all that shit's going away. All those AI is getting rid of all that shit. And I can't wait. I can't wait. And again, I'm all for the women who are going to be, hey, you're good at statistics, you're good at calculus. I want you to go all the way. I want you to go all the way, man or woman. But I don't want to see somebody who got a degree in gender studies on fucking TV telling me what to do with about my life. Fuck that shit. You know? Yeah, I mean that's all. And it's not even have to be 100 years ago, bro. 50 years ago, 40 years ago, hell, in 1995, when a man could have a regular fucking job, have 2-car garage, have his wife stay home when she got pregnant. You know what I'm saying? We're literally raising a generation of women that are fucking enemies of the state. Literally enemies of the state. You know what I'm saying? Literally enemies of the state. You go to these schools now, they don't even say the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, they don't say the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't. I don't know, man. We just had a white woman give her life for people who don't even believe in wearing pants. These guys from Somalia. This is a white woman with all the audacity in the world, all the privileges, and you give your life for people who don't even believe in wearing pants. People from Somalia, women, they don't believe women can wear pants in Somalia. You know what I'm saying? I love a sister with some big booty pants on. This woman gave her life, she literally, for a group of people who don't even believe in gosh, what they call it? They don't even believe in contraception. Somalis do not believe in contraception. And if I could snap my fingers and make her come back, I would ask you, do you know that? Do you know that? You're giving your life for these people who don't even care about you. And come to find out she had a young kid. You know what I'm saying? People are just lost mentally. Go look that up. Somalis do not believe in wearing pants for women. They do not believe in contraception. You know what I'm saying? You want to talk about women who follow and live under a man? It's a Somali woman, boy. A Somali woman knows how to live under a man. You are dying for the very man. Look, people are crazy, man. People are crazy. And saying they can't get pregnant, can get on Section 8 welfare. They taking that away. What we'll do for money? What we'll do? Man, look, the welfare state is never going to go away because the state needs the welfare state. The state needs the welfare state. Okay, because the prison system needs to be fed new blood constantly. Okay, the welfare state's never going away because the prison systems needs to be fed. The you know, so that's never going away. You can try to get rid of welfare; it's never going away. Because if you get rid of welfare overnight, you want to talk about population collapse. You'll have massive population collapse if you get rid of the welfare system. You know what I'm saying? You'll have massive wealth because you got to fix the money first. You got to fix the money first. We fix the money. We make men more viable as men. You know, get back to making men more viable uh, providers for women, and then you get rid of the welfare system, right? Because then women will go under the direction of men, and then will be more comfortable having children because again, women don't have children, particularly women who have somewhat of a decent high IQ. They don't have children if they feel that the future is not promising. See, women who are low IQ, they don't care. They don't, you just fuck them senseless and they'll have kids just over and over and over again. Women who have low IQ. That's why if you want a family right now, I tell guys this all the time. If you want a family right now, go find you a low IQ female, bro. Go find you a low IQ female. If you want a family, go find you a woman who is low IQ. All right. Maybe over time you can build her up. You can introduce her to some stuff. All right. But if you want a family, that's what you got to do. Because if you go out here and you get a girl who's, you know, she wants a fucking master's degree and fucking wants a PhD, motherfucker, you're not going to have a family until you're in your fucking 50s. You hear me? All right. And if you're lucky enough to have a family already, I can almost guarantee it's because your girl's probably low IQ. She's probably low IQ. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. I'm just saying, like, low IQ women are the women who have children now. You know what I'm saying? They are the women who are out here having kids. It's not women who go to college. It's not women who are out here with PhDs. You might be lucky to find, a couple of them, but if they do it, they have them older. Like, I had my first baby at 38. Like, what the fuck? You know? You said Trump said he would get rid of it, but Powers won't let it. Yeah, I don't think so. Said IQ and education have little to do with. I don't know. I beg to differ, bro. I beg to differ. I think it requires a certain IQ level to even think about or even consider going to higher education or make it through higher education. So I wouldn't say that IQ and education have little to do with each other. No, I've never seen anyone finish school and have a 50 IQ. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real here. And I'm not talking about IQ and education. I'm talking about IQ and number of kids, right? If you look at the data, particularly when we're talking about where I'm from, African countries, right? You have relatively lower IQ persons, and that is why we have such, besides the fact that it is extreme poverty, but we have significant amounts of children, because there is a correlation between high IQ and low birth rates. Okay. And the only place it doesn't fit is, for example, in Israel or in a lot of Jewish communities where religion religion circumvents that because they are actually told you gotta have kid after kid after kid after kid. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I just Googled that statement. It says it's false. The statement that IQ and education have little to do with each other is false. Research shows a strong reciprocal link between education consistently raising IQ scores. Okay? Come on, man. Correct yourself. Education and IQ have a lot to do with each other. All right? I'm telling you guys, if you want a family right now, you want to get married in 3 months, 6 months, go find you a woman with very low IQ. Go find you a woman who don't really like school like that for real. You know what I'm saying? Don't really know what to do with her life, can't figure it out, doesn't have the IQ to figure it out. And then go put yourself in a position with her where she's going to be under your tutelage. And then just guide her without doing anything stupid like making her go to college or some shit like that. And you end up fucking yourself up. Okay? Yeah, go get you a low IQ female, bro. India high IQ? I don't know about that, pool trader. India high IQ? I don't know about that, pool trader. High IQ women in India do not have a lot of kids. I know the kind of women you're talking about in India. Those IT girlies in India do not have a gang load of kids. No, 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 no. Trust me. I've studied this. I've been looking at family planning and all of that stuff like that. High IQ women in India do not have a lot of children. If you go down the ladder, right, particularly low IQ females in India, that's where you get the 6 kids, the 5 kids, the 4 kids. China high IQ, high birth rate. Again, I wouldn't agree with that either. I'm telling you, when you look at women and you see high IQ in women, you see low birth rates. You see low birth rates, high IQ, low birth rates every time. Okay, those you guys who are on social media, right? And you're flipping on social media and you're looking at those girls. Hi, my name is so and so, and I'm a stay-at-home mom of 6 kids. That woman is not intelligent for the most part. If you watch her content, she's not a very intelligent person. Am I right or am I wrong? It's very, you're going to be pressed to find a stay-at-home mom of 6 kids who's got a master's degree. All right, I can pretty much guess that damn near all those women like that on social media never went to college because college teaches women to do absolutely the opposite of that. College teaches women to fall in love with the system, to fall in love with, the job, to find strength in the job over the man. Nothing's undermined birth rates and marriage more than college and university. Remember, in the 1940s and 50s, women, for the most part, didn't go to college. College was really for men up until the mid 1970s. Go look that up. Most colleges were filled with mostly men up until the 1970s. It was mostly men who went to college. Women just went to church. Correct. Correct. Someone said that. More driven by instinct, less critical thinking. Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on with that. Spot on with that. Let me give you a supreme victory.
Supreme victory.
Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, the low IQ female, and guys are going to catch on to this late, and it's going to be a race to find the low IQ female. You're going to be, she's going to be the most highly prized thing in the next 10 to 15 years. The low IQ female is going to be highly prized because that's going to be the only way to spread your seed. You know, assuming again AI proliferates, assuming AI doesn't proliferate the way I think uh, it is. Okay, if we're still 10 years from now and we still have women, you know, being damn near, 60 to 65% of all PhDs out here, we're gonna have a big fucking problem. We're gonna have a big fucking problem when it comes to these birth rates. Said women can't take a masculine job like lawyer and be soft enough to stay in a relationship. Oh, they don't do very well in it. No, they don't do very well in it. Some women are able to maintain, uh, some semblance of femininity, but that tends to then be, femininity on conditions. You see what I'm saying? It tends to be like, okay, like I'll be feminine, but you better make more than me and you better be paying all my bills or you better, you know what I'm saying? Femininity on condition is always a lose-lose for any man. If you hear a woman says like I can be feminine, but I need you to but anything, you just go ahead and cancel her right away. Mormons, high IQ, high population. But again, religion, religion, religion. Okay? Religion circumvents that. Religion circumvents that. All right? Jewish women have very high IQs, but they also have very high birth rates, right? Because they believe their religion teaches them as a Jewish woman, your duty is to grow your race, right? Grow your people. So Jewish women will have as many kids as they possibly can. Okay, religion circumvents that. What's going on, Life for a Business? Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for coming. Same reason why birth rates in Japan are very, yeah, absolutely. There you go. Japan has a highly educated woman's population. Many of the women who work, right? Who work. And it's killing them. It's killing them. Japanese people are literally going extinct. Go look at the price of Japanese real estate, bro. They got homes in Japan for $6,000. That's how crazy Japan is getting now in the country, in some of these countrysides. I was looking at Japanese real estate. I was like, what the fuck? All right, some of their real estate, you're gonna have to like press English to translate the pages and stuff. But you change some of that stuff into dollars, and you're like, what the fuck? This shit is so fucking cheap. You know. Granted, I would never live in Japan. I wouldn't survive. No, ain't no big butts in Japan. I need big butts and big breasts. You know what I mean? I can't survive in places like that. You know. Birth rates in Japan. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly why, man. That's exactly why. You know. That's why when these guys, these passport bros, they go out to Africa, they go out to Asia, they pick. They're not going to the university. They're not. They're not. Look, these guys, they're not going to the University of Vietnam and standing outside the University of Vietnam and say, okay, who are the top 10 female graduates? That they're not doing that. They're going out to the countryside. They're getting Mei Ling, who was in the rice paddy, fine as hell. She's fine now. They don't get it twisted. They make sure they pick a fine one, and they put her on. They marry her. They make sure they get 2 or 3 kids out of her, right? And then once they get that from her, then they let her do whatever she want to do. Peep game, man. These folks know what they're guys who know what to do. They know what to do. You said Donald Trump has low IQ. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It takes a little bit of genius to be able to become a billionaire, man. You may not like him, but I mean, don't hate the player, don't hate the game. Don't hate the game. Now it takes some IQ to get to that level. Protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Protocols of the learned elders of Zion. It sounds familiar. Let me see. What does the anti-Semitic propaganda, the detail of a Jewish plot for a world global. Oh, okay. So I've heard about it. I haven't read it though. But this was the book I wrote. I read Henry Ford's. Henry Ford's. You know, I've actually read a couple Henry Ford's biographies, and this was a very, very big book with him. This was a very big book for him with him. And again, I'm not. I don't know. I'm not deep into the anti small hat thing. Again, although they are very much a dangerous organization. I ain't gonna lie, they are very dangerous people. Okay, and these people will they will get rid of you if you are in their way. Okay, but there's still a lot I need to learn. There's still a lot to learn. This explains Japan immigration. Yeah, Japan is bro. Japan is immigrant. They're bringing in people from Africa. That's how bad it is in Japan. They're bringing in people from Africa, and the people from Africa, they're literally communities on Instagram and TikTok where they're showing each other how to go to Japan because Japan is putting Africans in universities, English universities in Japan, by the way, free is well not free, but it's practically free. It's like $250 a quarter. That's practically free, and giving them places to live. That's how down bad Japan is right now. They're letting people move there from Africa. They're letting Indians move in there. They're letting. I mean, it's crazy what they're having to do to sustain their economy. But the birth rates are so low. They have no choice. They have no choice. Japan is literally in birth rate free for all because they have created a highly educated base of women who rather work than have children, man. Yeah, go look up that website Japan Property or whatever it's called. Yeah, I think it's called Japan Property. Bro, they've got houses for 16,000, 12,000 in Japan in major cities. You know what I'm saying? There's so much real estate. There's so much real estate because these people are dying. These people are dying and leaving behind, and they're some of them have no heirs, some of them have no grandkids. You know, it's crazy shit, man. Said money rules the earth. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read that protocols of, and it's Farrakhan and they got the secret the secret relationship between Jays and blacks. Jays, you know what I'm talking about. I can't say the word, but they've created that book, which by the way, the Jay community have been trying to. They're buying copies of it and burning it to try to get it out of print. But that was a very interesting read. I think it's available on PDF now. Somebody made it on PDF, if I believe. But yeah, I don't want to stay too long. God damn, I've been on here for 2 hours, way too long. But I appreciate you guys. I could go on and on and on and on. But I appreciate you guys hanging tight with me, man. We got the bounce what we wanted today. We got the bounce. We got the bounce we were looking for. That's all we were looking. That's all I was looking for was this fucking bounce, man. I just wanted the bounce just to prove that we're still in it. You know what I'm saying? We're still in it. My ascending triangle. We got to get back in there. Okay, we're going to get back. Let's get back in there. And boom, set a new high. Now, after the new high, I can't, hey, no promises. But what I do know is that Jerome Powell is out in May. No more Jerome Powell. Trump is going to put in a lackey. That lackey is going to set interest rates. They're going to cut interest rates damn near every chance they get until we are back down to, heck, we could end up going back down to who knows, man. I don't want to say, I don't want to imagine how low we go. And then this market just goes, woo! So this is not the time to be in the cash. This is not the time to be not in the market. This is the time to be putting in your work now, or you're going to be, somebody else's gains and not too much longer, because the summer will be here in a snap of a finger. The summer will be here in a snap of a finger, and then we're going to be looking at a new treasury, a new Fed secretary, and again, it's all guns up from then. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing that changes is, I mentioned earlier, if something were to happen to Trump or something like that, that's the only thing that would change that situation. All right? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have passed this level. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you for joining me. Another great episode. I'll be back here on Friday, where we'll see what has happened in the world, as well as where these stocks are on Friday, which we hope are much higher, okay, as we go into the final week of January. God damn, January passed by so fast. I feel like we just fucking celebrated New Year, and now it's almost February, bro. It's just, this is why you can't rest, and this is why you got to make the most of every single fucking day, because these days just fly now, man. They just fly. Okay, and it is what it is, folks. Tomorrow is another trading day. Trade well. Have a good night, everyone.